location in David. You have had quite a unique experience and a journey with College HUNKS. So how about we start how you got into College HUNKS, and then tell us about the journey to where you are now as an owner.
All right, so I actually was doing an entrepreneurship project in high school, my senior year of high school, and it was like, oh, pick a business, and I had stumbled across just junk removal in general, found it interesting, and then I was a sophomore in college, applied on Indeed for just a junk hauler position, went in, talked to the owner, and one of the big things that they talked about during that original interview was building leaders, and I was like, well, this is pretty neat, you know, there's like all these opportunities. So I worked there for, I guess, 3 summers, a couple winter breaks, and then once I graduated, Nancy had asked me what I was going to do once I graduated, and I made a joke about, like, do you want to sell me the business? And she was like, well, if you're actually serious, you know, let's talk. And she offered me a position to do some sales and marketing, started out just doing estimates and different relationship builders with apartments and whatnot. And then I kind of went into operations, eventually GM, was running most of the day-to-day of the business, and then I bought it 3 years ago.
Wow. And so that moment that you had, I know you said it as a joke, but then when you guys actually started talking about it, I know, you know, that leap from getting a steady paycheck to now you're the business owner and, you know, the paycheck depends on what the business does. What in your mindset, like what made you feel comfortable to know that you can bet on yourself, like you can do this? Like what really pushed you to make that leap?
So I was buying into a franchise, so I knew that I had a backing of all different sorts of stuff. I was also buying an established business, so I knew our customers and our repeat clients were 50% of our business, so that I knew that was always going to be there. And then just the brand name, you know, when I first started there, and I think it was 2020 maybe, nobody in like my hometown knew College HUNKS.
Yeah.
And then after 3 or 4 years working there, they're like, oh, you work for College HUNKS. Like I see the big orange trucks.
Yeah.
So even though it wasn't a steady paycheck, I knew that, you know, it was going to be there because of our brand name recognition and just all the support that we have kind of throughout the brand.
Sure. No, I love that. And actually, so Nancy was one of our OG locations, one of the original 10.
I think it was 8.
Yeah, I think number 8. And so for a while, it was just a junk business, right? And in New Jersey, that's very complicated and hard all on its own, the regulations, the A901 license, all the things. But then when you came along, I know you were really pushing and part of the shift to add moving. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I was at Reunion actually for one of the first times I was there, and people were like, what do you mean you guys don't do moving? Like you're junk only. And I kept saying to her, like, I think we should look at this. I think we should look at this. And it took a good amount of pushing.
Yeah.
And we finally took the leap. We decided during COVID to really, you know, seriously look at opening up moving. And we opened it up, and we are still a priority junk location. February will probably actually be our very first month that we will do more in move than we have in junk ever.
Woo, woo.
Move has been up, you know, it's been steadily growing, and all these long distance things that College HUNKS is coming out with is going to be a game changer.
Yeah, it sure is. And I know the fact that you were excited about it enough to do it, I know you're going to continue to push that growth and momentum forward. I want to circle back. I know you talked about building leaders. You are, like, again, such a building leaders example to yourself, but now that you're an owner, how are you building leaders within your team to grow in your organization?
So we take young men that are in all different, and women, that are in all different walks of life. We have college kids, we have high school seniors that just graduated, we have grown men that are, you know, this is a career for them. Some people, it's not a career, and it's how can I get you to the next step? So I do a lot of networking. I am good friends with electricians and plumbers and HVAC guys that when they're like, hey, you know, do you have anybody that might want to do something? Maybe it's my best guy, but at the end of the day, it's going to be their career then, and I can make that connection. Maybe they get an apprenticeship and they still work for me on the weekends. Maybe they're full-time and they're now a licensed electrician. We have guys that have been on the truck. I brought my estimator for the first time. He's at Reunion this year, so he was my very first hire when we opened up moving.
Wow.
Quickly grew into a captain. He was on the truck for 3 years, and then he's been an estimator just about a year now, full-time in the office. He'll hop on the truck on occasion because he misses it.
Well, yeah, gotta stay sharp.
Exactly. But he knows that better than anybody else. So when he's doing estimates, because he spent all that time on the trucks, he knows exactly what to look for and what to talk with people about.
That is awesome. I'm really proud of you. Your story, I think, is honestly an inspiration to so many people of us. So with that, what advice would you give someone who's looking at College Hunks, maybe not yet in that ownership capacity, but that they're aspiring to get there and they want to start in a similar path that you had, what advice would you give them?
I think you have to find the pathway. Talk to other franchise owners, because somebody is looking to take you off of a truck and put you into the office and teach you the business. I mean, when I bought the business, I don't want to say everything about the business, but I knew the challenges that come with it. I knew the positives that come with it. I got to see the impact that we make. We work with 15 different charities. We have some that pick up from us, some that we drop off to. We get to help out all these people. We've done domestic violence moves, everything that College HUNKS does, the impact that you make is just crazy for a moving and junk removal company.
Yeah, so much more than that.
Yep.
Well, continue to do all the things that you guys are doing. Make the impact locally with your team, in your communities. We're going to be here to cheer you along the whole way. But thank you so much, David. That was amazing.